The Players 2022 is going to be a week that we never forget. Elk, I mean, the tournament from start to finish was in a bit of disarray with the weather and with all these delays and days of no golf for some of the guys. But Cam Smith being the eventual champion, it feels like it was just meant to be.
Another Aussie.
Yay!
Aussie. Yeah, it was a great day yesterday. It didn't feel like a Monday. Watching on TV, it felt like the crowd was there. I mean, I know you were there. There was a lot of people. Your brother, as you were following, finished in the top 6 yesterday. That was an amazing performance by him. My dark horse pick, by the way. Finished up talking about how these medium range hitters, even though Cam Smith's not a medium range, he's kind of a long player. We saw him win in the Kapalua and he was driving it past John Rahm all day down there. But he played the kind of golf that you have to do at Players Championship. Of course, his putting was unreal yesterday. Had 4 birdies to start the day. I saw your brother get out the gate with 3 birdies. I thought, okay, here we go. This is going to be great. But everything went through Cam Smith from there on. There were some guys that he went to 12 and then came back, but he was always right there. Had another 4 birdies in a row from 10, 11, 12, and 13, and then capped it all off on 17 with an incredible shot there. I'm not actually sure, Diane, which was the best shot he hit out of the last 3 holes. Was it the 2-iron that he hit on the green after he chipped out on 16? Was it the 9-iron on 17? I hope, by the way, he never tells anybody if he pushed that shot or not.
Well, he did say that he played it way more aggressive than he wanted to.
Oh, he did? Well, there you go. And then on 18 with that hit shot, Diane, had to chip out. Sometimes a chip out is the hardest shot because he had to make sure he carried over the pine needles, didn't want to put too much curve on it in case he overcurved it and hit a tree, and then it skidded right through into the water. Yeah. But that little pitch shot he hit from 50 yards, I'm telling you, he made that ball stop on a dime. He even spun it back from 50 yards to 2 feet to kind of seal his position on the board and wait for Lahiri to see what he could do. But that pitch shot, I'm not sure which was the best out of those last 3 holes.
I was watching that because Cam Smith was the group behind Russell. So we had just finished. I was standing with Russell's caddy and we were watching it on the big screen. And he was like, oh, Cam has one of the best short games I've ever seen. So he's like, he's got this covered. I mean, we knew that wasn't going to be an issue. But I've got some fun stories to tell you about yesterday because, as I say, he was right behind us. And, you hear the cheers. And Russell birdied 1, 2, and then 4. So we were 3 under, 3, 4. But we knew that every time we heard the cheer that Cam Smith had matched him with a birdie. So I think when Russell came off 4, there was 1 shot in it. Russell was 1 behind him, but he had some great stuff to say afterwards. His mom and his sister, they had been in Australia. I hadn't seen him for 2.5 years because of all the COVID protocols there. They were over, so that was just so special. He was getting choked up, and your name was mentioned a lot afterwards too, because they were naming all the past Australian winners of the Players' Championship, and they asked Cam, why do you think Australians have such a good record at this tournament? And he said, you guys are creative. You grew up playing these creative shots, and I'm sure the weather and the wind has something to do with that, but he said it's just, he thinks that Australians are very creative players, and it's why you guys have done well at Augusta National too.
Well, it's nice of him to say, we have a lot of hard courses in Australia. As everybody knows that we have some great courses to play in Australia. Cam Smith grew up on the northern part of Australia, up in Queensland. He's won twice in Hawaii, right near beaches. Here's another one. Jack's Beach is almost like his hometown where he grew up in Brisbane. Likes playing in the wind. As you said, he's an incredible pitcher of the ball. He's always been great. Cam Smith. He's lived in a little bit of a shadow of Adam Scott coming from Queensland, but won the Australian Amateur. He's been good ever since he was a real young player. Played really well in the President's Cup, beat Justin Thomas down there in a head-to-head. Could you imagine going against Cam Smith with his putting? I mean, we saw him do it at Kapalua, just literally. I don't think I've ever seen anyone hit more pure putts than Cam Smith. I mean, he's incredible. I spent a fair bit of time with him and his dad this year, last year, up at Mark Leishman's Pro-Am, hanging out with Cam. We hit a lot of balls together at Top Golf, had a few beers. Very relaxed guy, very casual. As you know, you see him down at the marina with his boat, just hanging out and relaxed. I think that's I think that's what's the best part about Cam Smith is he is able to stay so calm, even when he hit it in the water on 18. Imagine if, you pick another player, how much your heartbeat would be up to play that pitch shot. But
yeah,
it was a great event, and they got a great champion. He's having a great season. He also must be feeling pretty good about going to Augusta. He's the only man that's ever shot 4 rounds in the 60s that didn't win at Augusta, and he's second there 2 years ago. So Cam Smith is on top of the golfing world for sure.
Yeah, and I think the big question now is, what is he going to buy for his boat? Maybe he'll buy a new boat with $3.6 million getting cashed into his bank account this week.
I remember his dad telling me that he has these big 4 or 5 50s on the back of his boat. And he said they went out to catch these snapper. He said, we spent about $800 in fuel to go out and catch these 2 small fish. And he said, Cam was so excited about catching these 2 fish. He said, mate, we should have went to the fish shop and bought them and saved the $800 in fuel. But that's the way Aussies are. He wanted to go as fast as he could out to 50-mile reef and catch a couple of snapper.
That's so funny. I do have another story for you because, well, the weather has been the talk of the week, and there was rain, there was thunderstorms, there was 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts, I think it got up to on Friday, and we saw absolute carnage, especially at 17. On 17, the first group out on 17 were Koepka, Scheffler and Schauffele, and they all hit it in the water. So, I mean, we saw a lot. The grounds crew were unbelievable, and they put in so much hard work to get that course in great shape for Sunday and the finish on Monday. But yesterday, Elk, I mean, it was chilly, not as chilly as it had been on Sunday, but we didn't really expect much rain. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the shower came in. So it was quite a light shower, and we're like, okay, cool, we can deal with that. But Russell said to us at that point, I don't have my umbrella. We didn't pack the umbrella in the bag because we didn't think it was going to rain. So we were like, okay, I think at this point we were on 4 or 5. And we were like, well, if it threatens it, then, at the turn, we'll go into the clubhouse and get the umbrella for you. So it was nice, blue skies and sunny. He gets to 11 and the heavens open. And we just had this shower of really heavy rain. He has no umbrella. Him and his caddy are standing on the green getting soaked. He has a 6-foot putt for birdie. So somebody from the crowd had this tiny little black umbrella, like the one that your mum keeps in her handbag. So Russell's on the green with this tiny little thing. I'm running around like, we have to get him a big umbrella. So I stole a big umbrella of a mother and her 2 daughters. She was like, take it. So I had to run down.
That's my brother. He needs to win some money over there, yeah.
But he was getting roasted on Twitter for carrying this tiny little black umbrella. So his agent came up to me and was like, I just arrived, what happened? Like, did the Shrixon umbrella break? And we're like, well, they just forgot to put it in the bag this morning. So that was quite a funny story.
That's a funny story. That's a caddy nightmare right there when it starts to rain and they have no towel or have no umbrella. That's just the worst feeling ever.
Yeah, I could see him out with the jacket.
670,000 for your brother yesterday.
Yeah, and a great birdie on 18 to really, move up one more. And we knew that if he just parred in 16, 17 and 18, that he would stay in the top 10. And his goal at the start of the week had been top 20. So he played it safe. We didn't go for it on 2 in 16 because he knew par in. But I think the putt was about 14 feet maybe on 18 for birdie, and he made it, and man, he gave that big fist pump. He was so happy. Someone told me that putt made him an extra 150k.
That's great stuff. I texted him last night. He noted a couple of things that we talked about in the beginning of the week. I'll keep between he and I, but we talked a lot about what we thought it was going to take for him to do well that week, last week, and he did it, and it was great to see. It still stands, Players Championship is open for everyone. We saw Dustin Johnson shoot a course record on the other 9 under. We'll have to watch him now that he's in form. Doug Gim was up there. Medium range guys like your brother, like Cam Smith, even though Cam Smith's not really medium range. He hit a lot of 3 woods. He played a very precise game. DPC, just took out all the guns in the beginning of the week. And all the guys that hit the ball the best were left standing.
Yeah, I mean, and another great week for Harold Varner. Kind of, we saw him win in Saudi, and then he went cold after that. But man, when he gets hot, he comes out with it, and a couple of 69s to kick off, and then he ended up in a tie for 6 as well. But what about Anirban Lahiri finishing in solo second at 12 under, just one shot off the pace of Cam Smith? What a fantastic week for him.
Yeah, there's no way to handicap Anirban Lahiri. He weighted his irons differently. He's gone, he had a rough stretch with his health, with COVID, all these things. But that's the way golf is. You get going. He realized that there was a really big opportunity for him. I like to see guys rise up when there's an opportunity arises itself. I mean, you said on our brief thing that I told you that Cam Smith was looking real dangerous, I think, 2 days ago, because of the way he looks over the putter. When he gets that putter going, it's just ridiculous. But yeah, Anirban Lahiri, he has put himself back into the tour. He was out for a while, and now he's well and truly back in. So that's good for him.
And as you say, Russell was your dark horse pick. So he finished in a tie for 6. So that was great for you. All of my picks made the cut. So Daniel Berger was my outright favourite. Shane Lowry was my one to watch. They both finished in a tie for 13th. So I was quite happy with that result. And then I had Brian Harman as my dark horse, who got off to a flyer of a start and ended up having a bit of a not great weekend and finishing at 4 over. But Russell played with Brian for the first 2 rounds. I'm like, however many days that was. And man, Russell said afterwards, if I could putt like Brian Harman, I would be winning a lot. Because he, scrambling and on the greens, Brian Harman put on a clinic over the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, and how about Patton Kizzire, who was 5 under, I think, and he shanked it on 17, made a double, and then he went around and had another birdie and an eagle, and he was back to 5 under. That was before he finished his 3rd round, went out and shot 5 over in the morning to back to even. I looked at the scoreboard, I said, what happened? And then yesterday he went out and had 10 birdies, but he had another 5 bogeys. He had the most crazy week ever. So I think we'll have to watch for Patton, because if he can just take out some of these bigger holes, we're going to be talking about him.
Yeah, and this week we're going to be doing our Tour Report podcast for the Valspar Championship down at Innisbrook near Tampa, so staying in Florida, last event in the Florida Swing. And, the Copperhead course is a tough course, so Patton is immediately one name that we haven't even checked yet. We're going to go look at all of our stats and the field and give you everything on your Tour Report. But yeah, there's going to be some interesting names that are going to pop up this week, going by the performance that we just saw at the Players.
Yeah, and I looked at the field just now. There's a lot of players like Morikawa and Schauffele who missed the cut that are playing this week. They'll be well and truly chapped about being left out of the situation. We'll have to handicap that accordingly. But it's a very difficult course, Copperhead, very different from what we're just looking at behind your shoulder. There's not water, but it's a narrow course. We saw Paul Casey play. It's a super course for him. He's not playing this week, but very narrow ball strikers course again. Florida is that way, Diane. Bay Hill, Players, Copperhead. You've got to play good on all 3 of them to make the cut. And, we're going to try to handicap it and get you some good picks.
I'm so surprised that Paul Casey isn't playing. He's won before. He's got a great track record at the Valspar and just coming off a solo 3rd at the Players.
At least my list that I saw, he wasn't on it.
Okay, right.
And Cam Smith's gone fishing.
Yeah, he said he was going to sleep first. Sleep and fish.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, and beers around the fire, he said, which sounds pretty ideal. Right, well, thank you for following along with all of our Players Championship content. It's been amazing. And we're going to keep it rolling for the Valspar Championship this week.